Hi everyone, I'm Yenn from Malaysia. First of all, allow me to introduce myself. I'm a Master of Engineering Science student from the Lee Kong Chian Faculty of Engineering and Science of Universiti Tunku Abdul Rahman, Selangor, Malaysia. My field of research is mainly focused on Industry 4.0 and also lean manufacturing. The title of this paper will be the relationship of Industry 4.0 and business performance in Malaysian manufacturing firms, a PLS SEM model. Basically, this will be the outlines of today's presentation. As for introduction, since the popularization of Industry 4.0, we had witnessed the huge changes in our daily life with those disruptive digital technologies that has changed how humans and also machines interact with one another. As a result, many concepts and frameworks associated with the collection of Industry 4.0 digital technologies were introduced to manufacturing firms and also have promised massive enhancement in manufacturing technologies, systems, and also processes that are not feasible in the past, like an example, mass customization. However, researchers have raised several doubts on the effectiveness of those Industry 4.0 digital technologies in improving business performance due to the lack of empirical data and case studies to support the implementation, and therefore arguing the needs of more studies. Therefore, the objective of these studies is to identify the correlation between Industry 4.0 digital technologies and business performance from a developing country's perspective like Malaysia with the usage of partial least square structural equation modeling PLS SEM technique. Also, this study will want to strengthen the gap of knowledge on Industry 4.0 with the effects on business performance with empirical data collected in Malaysian manufacturing firms. Lastly, the study will want to provide novelty based on the microanalysis done on Industrial 4.0 digital technologies to identify the importance and performance of each Industrial 4.0 digital technologies in improving business performance. For the theoretical background, Industrial 4.0 is popularized at Hanover Fair, Germany in 2011, and it is said that the involvement is greater than the previous three industrial revolutions due to the disruptive innovation of digital technologies and their breakthroughs, which has successfully disrupted the life of every single individual in the world. And is also believed to bring numerous benefits with substantial leaps to manufacturing firms. Hence, Industrial 4.0 can be categorized into two categories, namely technology trends and also design principle. Technology trends indicates the existence of renowned solutions based on the application of the state-of-the-art digital technologies, like example, big data, robotics, automated systems, cyber physical system, cloud computing, additive manufacturing, simulation, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, etc. And whereas for design principles, it illustrates the characteristics of Industrial 4.0, which allows practitioners to assess their progress of Industry 4.0 implementation, such as smart products, smart factory, real-time capabilities, interoperabilities, modularization, decentralization, and etc. However, researchers have often stated contradictory statements regarding Industry 4.0 implementation in achieving business performance. Like an example, they have claimed that there are uncertainties and also has huge risk of failure in implementing Industry 4.0, as the perceived benefit and improvements are stated conceptually without evidence from case studies and empirical data. Until today, there is still lack of proven guidelines, frameworks, definition, and methodology for implementing Industry 4.0. And it is further supported that those digital technologies does not conform to manufacturing laws by itself. And other researchers had further argued that claimed that bottleneck or inefficient process digitalized with Industrial 4.0 digital technologies will not solve the issue. Researchers have also claimed that Industrial 4.0 might not be suitable for SMEs and eventually will be the victim and replaced by those large corporations due to the capabilities of mass customization. Other researchers have also argued that only monotonous manufacturing industries can benefit from Industrial 4.0. As a result, this has proved the urgency for more empirical studies to provide more insights to bridge the literature gap and also to solve the contradictory views of Industrial 4.0 digital technologies on business performance. Therefore, a hypothesis is formed where Industrial 4.0 digital technologies has a positive and direct effect on business performance, and also together with the development of the proposed model as is shown in this slide. As for the methodology of this study, a quantitative approach with a cross-sectional questionnaire-based survey using Google Form is used for data collection from manufacturing firms in Malaysia to test the hypothesis and the proposed framework that is created earlier. A total of 124 respondents representing their respective manufacturing firms were collected in a period of 6 months. The questionnaire was designed into 3 main sections with the application of 5 Likert scale for data collection. A total of 17 measurement items for Industry 4.0 digital technologies and also 15 measurement items from business performance was adopted and adapted from previous studies, ensuring their validity and reliability. After that, a pre-testing process is done with 10 target respondents to ensure that the questionnaire itself is relevant and also appropriate to the study context. After the data collection, PLS SEM technique will be used to analyze and also to study the relationship of Industry 4.0 digital technologies and business performance using a software known as Smart PLS. Next, for result and data analysis, 4 main steps is needed to be done. First, for preliminary analysis, the data collected is needed to assess for common method variance CMV bias to ensure that the relationship of all constructs are not overstated as the data is collected from a single source. Full corollary method is applied to assess this CMV bias. Based on the table shown above, both the VIF value of the random dummy variable is less than the threshold value of 3.3. Hence, it is safe to declare that it is not plagued with CMV bias. Next, for measurement model assessment, it is done to ensure reliability and validity of measurement items of a construct. 3 assessments is needed to be done. First is for internal consistent reliability, which consists of 2 criteria where compact alpha and composite reliability is needed to be fulfilled, where it must be above the threshold, where the measurement items and the construct must be above the threshold value of 0.7 and 0.708 respectively. Next, for outer loading and conversion reliability, the outer loadings and AVE values must also be above the threshold value of 0.708 and 0.5 respectively. Hence, according to the table shown, all measurement items and constructs are well above those stated criterion. Next, HTMT criterion is applied to assess for discriminant validity, and in this case, the construct had fulfilled the strictest HTMT criterion, where HTMT value must be less than 0.85. In short, the measurement models in this study is said to have achieved satisfactory validity and reliability and will proceed to the next step, which is structural model assessment. To assess the structural model, a 5-step assessment is needed to be done. First is to assess the collinearity. The purpose of this is to ensure that the variables are distinguishable with one another, and in this case the VF value is only 1, which is less than the threshold value of 3. Next, to determine the path coefficient and to test the hypothesis and the model that is formulated earlier, a non-parametric test known as bootstrapping is needed to be done. As a result, the hypothesis is accepted with the standard beta value of 0.605 indicating the positive and direct effect, and the t value, which is 9.91, which is above the threshold value of 1.645, and the p value is 0.000, which is less than must be less than 0.05, and the upper and lower confidence interval of this study does not span between 0. Hence, this has shown that Industry 4.0 digital technologies have a positive and direct relationship to business performance. Next, in order to determine the in-sample prediction, coefficient of determination R² is needed to be determined. In this case, it has a weak predictive accuracy as the value is between 0.5 and 0.25. Next, for Cohen's effect size F square, it has a large effect size as the value is above 0.35. Lastly, in this study, it is found that there is predictive relevance, which is also known as out-of-sample prediction, as the Q² value is greater than 0. Also, a more robust method known as PLS predicts is used to further assess the predictive relevance, and it is found that all variables at root mean squared error RSME and also mean absolute error MAE of linear model is greater than the PLS model, therefore indicating that it has a high predictive power on business performance. Next, the IPMA can be differentiated into 4 quadrants to identify the importance and performance of each measurement items of Industry 4.0 digital technologies. Therefore, it can be seen that all the digital technologies of Industry 4.0 in this study is capable of improving business performance. Next, for discussion, this study has successfully advanced and contributed to the latest knowledge of Industry 4.0 and has presented meaningful implications for practitioners, top management, decision makers, and government relating to Industry 4.0. The results have revealed that Industry 4.0 digital technologies have a direct and also a significant effect towards improving business performance regardless of their size, sales turnovers, and industrial sector, and this is coherent with prior studies in developed nations. This has again reaffirmed the feasibility of implementing Industry 4.0 digital technologies implementation for business improvement, and also has successfully demystified inconsistent statements pointed out by several researchers that I discussed earlier. Moreover, based on the IPMA analysis earlier, it had revealed that all 17 Industry 4.0 digital technologies are proficient in improving business performance. This has also shown that those digital technologies are successful being implemented in Malaysia, while also capable in achieving improvement in business performance. However, augmented reality is found to score the lowest in terms of importance and also performance in improving business performance, and is followed closely by AI, simulation, and advanced material. Therefore, this has shown that those four technologies must not be prioritized during the implementation of Industry 4.0. And however, surprisingly, the findings had also indicated that additive manufacturing capabilities and importance in improving business performance are lower than what other researchers claim. On the other hand, it is found that these 7 digital technologies of Industry 4.0 that is shown in this slide have high importance and performance to improve business performance of manufacturing firms in Malaysia as compared with others. Therefore, they should be the priorities for consideration during implementation. Next, this study has addressed the topic of Industry 4.0 that received little to no awareness in Malaysia. It has successfully disproved a claim of low implementation of Industry 4.0 in Malaysia. Therefore, it is able to provide a deeper insight for academicians, practitioners, top management, governments, etc. globally relating to the scene of manufacturing firms in Malaysia, and also with the level of implementation of Industry 4.0 in Malaysian manufacturing firms. This insight is vital as it will enrich the literature from an emerging and developing countries' perspective, as the findings will definitely differ with advanced developed nations like US and Germany, as the fundamental challenges faced, like the lack of resources, manpower, are not taken into any consideration at all. Lastly, this study can also be served as a reference for other researchers to conduct studies in their own context, as the measurement items are thoroughly evaluated in terms of reliability and validity. And the proposed model is proven with high out-of-sample predictive power and robust enough to be integrated in any other research. It also proved the feasibility of the methodology using PLS SEM and questionnaire-based survey to conduct empirical studies, and has successfully fulfilled the objective of these studies. As for conclusion, the study has effectively presented the positive and direct correlation of Industry 4.0 digital technologies and business performance, as well as the identification of salient digital technologies of Industry 4.0 for prioritized implementation regardless of their size, industrial sectors, and sales turnover. However, practitioners and decision makers must understand thoroughly the implication of each of the Industry 4.0 digital technologies and must strategize the implementation comprehensively based on the nature and also the resources of their respective manufacturing firms to accomplish the perfect balance in improving business performance. And manufacturing firms must be resilient and agile with the prevailing paradigm shift of Industry 4.0 digital technologies in order to endure and also to sustain in this tough and competitive market. Now, let us talk about the limitation of this study. This study is limited in Malaysia, where the data is collected from an individual representing their respective manufacturing firms. Therefore, the findings may not wholly represent the respondents or manufacturing firms of other geographical areas or nations, since there are significant differences in cultural maturity, resources, demands, national policies, etc. So it is recommended to conduct similar studies in different countries to provide further implications and also to further enrich the literature. Next, manufacturing firms in Malaysia are still currently undergoing projects of deploying Industry 4.0 digital technologies. Therefore, a longitudinal studies can be done to fully capture the implication of implementing Industry 4.0 digital technologies towards business performance. Lastly, I would like to take the opportunity here to acknowledge UTAR and also to thank UTAR for funding this study under the UTAR Research Fund UTAR RF 2021 Cycle 1. Next, I would like to also offer my sincere gratitude to Asian Scholars Network on organizing the ICME SSI 2022. And I would like to also declare that all the co-authors and I have no conflicts of interest, and all the consents from the respondent participate in this study were informed and obtained. Thank you very much for your participation and time. Have a nice day and stay safe. Thank you very much.